Welcome to Read and Learn English. I am happy you are here today. In this story, you will practice English, but you will also learn something much more. You will learn about life, about growth, and about how one small boy became one of the most successful people in the world. This story is about Bill Gates and how he built Microsoft, but it is also about you and what you can do with your own life. Let us begin with a feeling that many people know very well. Maybe you have felt it too. The feeling of being small, ordinary, and not important. You wake up, you go to school or to work, and you think, I am just one person. What can I really do? You see rich people, famous people, and powerful people on the news or on the internet. You think their world is far away, and your world is very different. This thought makes you feel weak. It makes you believe that success is only for special people, not for you. But here is the truth. Many people stay stuck because they believe this lie. They believe they cannot change, so they never try. They believe success is only for the lucky ones, so they give up before they start. They repeat the same days, the same mistakes, the same fears again and again. Life becomes a circle, and they feel trapped inside it. Now, let us look at a different picture. Some people also feel small at first. Some people also start with nothing. But these people choose a different way. They choose to believe in growth. They choose to believe in learning. They choose to try, even when it is hard. And because of this choice, their life changes. Bill Gates was one of these people. He was not born rich in knowledge. He was not born with a crown on his head. He was born an ordinary boy, just like many other children. But inside him, there was something special, something small but powerful. It was curiosity. It was the desire to learn more, to explore, to ask questions, to look deeper than other people. That small desire grew and grew, and step by step, it opened the path to Microsoft. The story of Bill Gates is not only about computers or about money. It is about how one person can build something great by starting small. It is about how courage, mistakes, patience, and hard work can turn dreams into reality. And this story is not only his story, it is a mirror for you. When you listen, I want you to see not only Bill Gates, but also yourself. So today, as we begin, ask yourself a question. What small choices can you make that will change your tomorrow? What lesson can you take from Bill's journey and bring into your own? In the next part of this story, we will go back in time and meet Bill Gates as a curious child. This is where everything begins. A curious child. In this part of the story, we travel back in time. We go to the days when Bill Gates was just a little boy. He was not famous, not rich, and not powerful. He was simply a child, like millions of other children in the world. But something inside him made him different. That something was curiosity. Curiosity is the beginning of greatness. It is the fire that asks, why, and how, and what if? And this fire was burning brightly in young Bill Gates. When Bill was a child, he loved to read. He could sit for hours with a book in his hands. He read about science, history, adventure, and knowledge. While other children were outside playing for long hours, Bill often stayed inside with books. His mind was hungry. He wanted to understand the world. He wanted to know how things worked. Reading gave him new worlds to explore, and he loved the journey of discovery. Many children around him thought differently. They loved to run, play games, and laugh. That was good too, because play is important. but most of them never looked deeper. They did not spend time asking questions or searching for answers. They enjoyed the surface of life. Bill enjoyed the depth. He wanted to go further than the game. He wanted to go beyond the fun. This is the difference that set him apart. One day, his parents noticed something about their son. He did not only read stories for fun, he also read books that were difficult, books that were long, books that many adults found hard to finish. But Bill finished them. He was not afraid of hard work if it brought him answers. His mother sometimes had to remind him to stop reading and go to sleep. His father sometimes smiled when he saw Bill in a corner, lost in a world of ideas. Curiosity was not only about books. Bill also loved to ask questions. He asked his teachers, his parents, and even his friends. Sometimes people became tired of his many questions. But Bill did not stop. He believed that every answer opened a new door, and behind that door, there was always another question waiting. This chain of questions built his mind like strong muscles. Think about it for a moment. Many people live without asking questions. They see something and accept it. They never wonder why it is this way, or how it could be different. Because of this, their world stays small. But Bill's world kept growing because he was curious. Every question made him see more, understand more, and dream more. At school, teachers noticed his ability. He could learn new things quickly because he wanted to understand, not only to pass a test. He did not just memorize answers. He looked at problems like puzzles to solve. He enjoyed the process. When he made a mistake, he laughed and tried again. While many students became bored, Bill stayed excited. His friends sometimes teased him. They said, "Why do you read so much? Why do you care about these boring things?" But Bill did not listen. He did not feel bad about being different. In fact, his curiosity gave him joy. He knew that knowledge was like treasure. Every book was a map. Every question was a key. And the more he searched, the more treasure he found. Imagine two children in the same room. One child plays with toys, happy for a short time, but tomorrow he forgets the game. The other child opens a book, learns something new, and keeps that knowledge forever. Which child will grow stronger in mind? Which child will be ready for the future? This was the difference between Bill Gates and many of his friends. Curiosity does not look important at first. It is small, like a seed. But when you water a seed, it grows into a big tree. Bill's curiosity was that seed. Every book, every question, every idea was like water helping it grow. And one day, that tree would become strong enough to build Microsoft. But for now, Bill was still a young boy, hungry to learn. He did not yet know where his curiosity would take him. He only knew that he loved to explore the world of ideas. This passion for knowledge was preparing him for the next step. Soon, his questions would meet something new, something powerful, something that would change his life forever. That something was the first computer. The first computer. There comes a moment in every great story when a door opens. For Bill Gates, this door was not made of wood or glass. It was made of wires, lights, and screens. It was the first computer he ever saw. At that time, computers were not in every home. They were rare, big, and expensive. But one day, Bill's school got a computer, and this moment changed his life. The machine looked strange to many students. It was large and not easy to use. Some children saw it and thought, "This is boring. It is only for science people. Others played a little, then left. But when Bill looked at the computer, something inside him woke up. He did not see a boring machine. He did not see just a toy. He saw a new world waiting to be discovered. His heart beat faster. His eyes became bright. He felt that this machine was calling him. From that day, Bill spent hours in the computer room. He skipped breaks, stayed late, and sometimes forgot to eat because he was so focused. While other students played outside, Bill was inside, typing on the keyboard, reading codes, and learning how the computer worked. At first, it was difficult. Computers were not simple then. They did not have friendly screens or easy programs. Everything was written in lines of code. One mistake, and the program failed. But Bill did not give up. He tried again and again, learning from every error. Think about the contrast. Most students saw the computer as a game or a problem too hard to understand. They gave up quickly. Bill saw it as an opportunity. He thought, if I learn this, I can do something great. This way of thinking is what separates dreamers from doers. The machine was the same for everyone, but Bill's eyes were different. He saw the future inside it. His teachers began to notice. They saw that he had patience and passion. He asked many questions about how the computer worked. Sometimes the teachers themselves did not know all the answers, because computers were new even for adults. But Bill kept searching. He read books, tested programs, and wrote small codes. The more he learned, the more excited he became. Soon, he was not only using the computer, he was teaching others. His classmates came to him when they had a problem. They said, "Bill, how do you fix this?" He enjoyed helping them, because when he explained, he understood even better. This was the moment when his curiosity from childhood met his new passion. Books gave him knowledge, but the computer gave him power to create. There is a lesson here for you and me. Opportunities do not always look exciting at first. Sometimes they look hard. Sometimes they look boring. Many people walk away, but a few people stay. Those who stay, those who give effort, those who try again and again, they are the ones who find the treasure. Bill saw the computer as treasure, not trouble. That is why it changed his life. One night, Bill stayed late working on a program. The classroom was quiet. His friends had gone home. Only the soft sound of the machine filled the air. He looked at the screen and felt a deep happiness. For him, this was not work. It was play, but a special kind of play. It was play with ideas, with possibilities, with the future. In that silence, he thought, this is what I want to do. This is what I love. When you discover something that makes you lose time, that makes you forget everything else because you are so focused, pay attention. That is passion. Passion is the fuel for greatness. Bill had found his passion in that school computer room. The years passed and his skills grew. He was no longer just a student using a machine. He began to dream. He imagined a world where computers were not only in schools or big offices, but in every home, on every desk. It was a crazy dream at that time, because computers were huge and expensive. But Bill believed. His vision was clear. One day, computers would be for everyone. This is the power of seeing beyond the present. Most people saw the machine in front of them and thought only of now. Bill saw the machine and thought of tomorrow. He connected his effort today with a bigger picture for the future. And that dream born in the quiet of a school computer room, would lead him to his next great decision, going to college where the dream would grow even bigger. Dropping out of Harvard. When Bill Gates grew older, his love for learning and computers led him to one of the most famous schools in the world, Harvard University. For many people, this was already a dream come true. Harvard was a place of success, a place where the best students studied, a place that promised a safe future. His parents were proud, and everyone believed that Bill was on the right path. At Harvard, Bill studied hard. He met brilliant students, listened to smart professors, and read many books. The school was full of opportunities, and for most people, this would be enough. A Harvard degree meant respect, money, and a stable life. It was the safe path, the path almost everyone wanted. But Bill's heart was not fully in the classrooms. While he listened to lectures, his mind often wandered back to computers. The world of technology was moving fast, and new machines were appearing. Every time Bill thought about computers, he felt alive. He felt that something big was coming, and he wanted to be part of it. One day, he heard about a new computer that was small enough for personal use. This was different from the huge machines he had known before. A small computer for ordinary people. That idea excited him. He imagined writing software, programs that would help people use these computers easily. He believed that this was the future. But here came the hard question. Should he stay in Harvard, follow the safe road, and get a degree? Or should he leave, take the risk, and chase his dream? The safe path was clear. If he stayed, he would graduate, find a good job, and make his parents proud. Society would accept him, and life would be stable. But the brave path was uncertain. If he left Harvard, people might call him foolish. He might fail. He might lose everything. It was like standing at a crossroads with two very different signs. One said safe, and the other said risk. Bill thought deeply. He walked across the campus, looked at the tall buildings, and asked himself, what do I want most in life? Do I want safety, or do I want growth? Do I want to follow a clear path, or do I want to create my own? Finally, he made his decision. He would leave Harvard. He would follow his dream of building software. It was not easy to tell his parents. They worried about his future. They asked him if he was sure. Many people said he was making a mistake, but Bill's heart was strong. He said, I believe this is the right time. Computers are the future, and I want to be part of it. Think about the contrast. Most students wanted to stay, study, and graduate. They believed the paper degree was the key to life. Bill believed something different. He believed that action, not only study, would change the world. He believed that real learning was not only in books, but also in building, trying, and creating. That belief gave him courage to step onto the harder road. The first days after leaving Harvard were not easy. He was no longer a student with a clear title. He was just a young man with a dream. There were no guarantees. Every morning, he woke up with the same thought. I must make this work. The fear of failure was real, but the fire of passion was stronger. This decision teaches us an important lesson. Success does not always come from walking the safe road. Sometimes you must step into the unknown. Sometimes you must risk being different, risk being judged, risk being wrong. It is scary, but it is also the place where growth happens. If Bill had stayed at Harvard, He might have lived a comfortable life, but he would not have created Microsoft. The world would be different today. Risk is not foolish when it is connected to vision and hard work. Bill did not leave Harvard to do nothing. He left to do something greater. He left because he saw an opportunity and was ready to give all his effort. That is the difference between empty risk and meaningful risk. Empty risk is careless, meaningful risk is brave. And so, with this choice, a new chapter of his life began. Bill was no longer only a student. He became a dreamer with action, ready to build. This decision, difficult and dangerous, opened the door to Microsoft. Starting Microsoft. After Bill Gates left Harvard, he carried with him a dream that was bigger than any classroom. But he was not alone. His close friend, Paul Allen, shared the same vision. Paul also loved computers and believed that one day they would be in every home. Together, the two young men decided to start something new, something that at first looked small but would one day change the world. They called it Microsoft. In the beginning, Microsoft was not a big company. It was not filled with hundreds of workers or fancy buildings. It was just two young men, a small office, and an idea. The office was simple, almost empty, with only a few desks, some chairs, and a computer. But inside that room was energy, hope, and determination. Every day, Bill and Paul sat side by side, writing code for long hours. They worked late into the night, sometimes until their eyes could not stay open. For them, it was not about comfort. It was about creation. They knew they had something important in their hands. But the road was slow. In the first months, they had very little money. They ate simple food, wore simple clothes, and lived with uncertainty. There were times when the future looked cloudy, when success seemed far away. Many people in the same situation would have given up. They would have said, "This is too hard. This is too small. It is not working." But Bill and Paul thought differently. They believed that every great thing begins small. A tree begins as a seed. A journey begins with one step. Microsoft, too, began as a small project, but with patient steps it could grow. They kept coding, kept testing, and kept improving. Each line of code was like a brick, and brick by brick, they were building a foundation. Some days were exciting, when a program worked well. Other days were full of frustration, when errors kept coming. But Bill had a strong belief. Problems were not signs to quit. Problems were signs to learn. Instead of feeling weak when things failed, he and Paul worked harder. This mindset was their strength. The contrast is clear. Many people only want quick results. They want success today, not tomorrow. When progress is slow, they walk away. But Bill and Paul chose patience. They understood that slow progress is still progress. They trusted the process, and this trust kept them moving forward. As Microsoft slowly grew, Bill also showed his leadership. He was young, but he was focused. He could see the big picture while also caring about small details. He pushed himself and Paul to do better every day. Sometimes he was tough, sometimes demanding, but it was because he believed in the dream. He was not willing to settle for average work. He wanted excellence. At the same time, their friendship gave them balance. Paul brought calmness when stress was high. Bill brought energy when motivation was low. Together, they formed a strong team. Without Paul, Microsoft might not have started. Without Bill, it might not have grown. Their teamwork shows us that big dreams often need more than one person. Money was still a challenge. Investors were not always interested. Some people thought two young men with big dreams could not compete with large companies. But Bill and Paul refused to be discouraged. They knocked on doors, made calls, and shared their vision. Slowly they began to get small projects. Each small success was fuel for the next. One important project came when a company asked them to write software for a new personal computer. Bill and Paul worked day and night to finish it. When they succeeded, they proved that Microsoft was not just a dream, it was real. The small office, the long nights, the endless lines of code, suddenly they all had meaning. Think of the lesson here. Big success rarely comes fast. It begins small, it grows slowly, and it demands patience. If you give up in the small stage, you will never see the big stage. Bill and Paul understood this truth. They did not let the size of their office decide the size of their dream. They kept going, step by step, and each step took them closer to greatness. The story of Microsoft's beginning reminds us of something powerful. You don't need to start big to become big. You only need to start and then keep going. The small seed of Microsoft was planted in that tiny office, but it carried within it the power to grow into a giant tree. As their software reached more people, Microsoft began to rise. But with growth came new challenges, money, competition, and decisions that could shape the future. Bill and Paul were about to face a new stage in their journey. The small office was only the beginning. Ahead of them waited bigger challenges, harder tests, and even greater opportunities. The struggles and mistakes. Every story of success has a side that is not often shown. People see the glory, the money, and the fame, but they do not always see the pain, the late nights, the fears, and the mistakes. Microsoft, in its early years, had many struggles. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were not walking on a smooth road. The road was full of bumps, and every step tested their courage. One of the first struggles was money. Microsoft was still young and big companies were stronger. Bill and Paul had to be careful with every dollar. Sometimes they worked without rest, only to find that the reward was smaller than they hoped. At times, the company almost ran out of money. The fear of failure was always near. Many businesses close in the first few years, and Microsoft could have been one of them. Then there was competition. Other companies also saw the future of personal computers. They had more workers, more resources, and more power. Microsoft was small, and in the eyes of the world, it was weak. Competing with giants was not easy. It was like a young tree standing in the middle of a strong storm. Every wind could break it. But Bill did not run away. He believed that even a small company could survive if it was smart, fast, and flexible. Mistakes also came, as they always do in any new journey. Sometimes Microsoft promised too much too quickly. Sometimes they made deals that were not perfect. Sometimes their software had problems that frustrated customers. Each mistake was heavy, and for many people, such failures would be enough to quit. But Bill had a different way of thinking. He once said that it is fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to learn from failure. This is the contrast we see. Failure destroys many people, but for Bill, failure became a teacher. When a deal went wrong, he asked, "What lesson is here?" When money was low, he asked, "How can we be smarter?" When software had problems, he asked, "How can we improve?" Each mistake was not the end, it was a step forward. The long nights continued. Bill often worked with intense focus, checking lines of code, correcting errors, and demanding quality. Some employees found him tough, even difficult, but his reason was clear. He wanted Microsoft to survive, and survival meant learning fast. Every mistake was like a fire. It could burn them, or it could make them stronger. Bill chose to use the fire for strength. Think about this lesson for your own life. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone faces struggles. Some people stop at the first failure and never try again. Others use failure as a teacher and grow. Success is not the absence of mistakes. It is the ability to rise after each one. Bill and Microsoft rose again and again. There was one moment when a business deal nearly broke them. A larger company tried to push Microsoft into a corner. If they agreed to the deal, they might lose control of their work. If they refused, they might lose money and clients. It was a risk either way. Bill thought hard, weighed the options, and chose to protect the dream. It was painful in the short term, but it kept Microsoft alive in the long term. That decision showed his courage. Another struggle came from within the company itself. Growth brought stress. Employees sometimes disagreed, and the pressure of constant work was heavy. But Bill knew that leadership meant guiding people through both good and bad days. He tried to focus the team on the bigger vision, building software that would change the world. Step by step, Microsoft grew stronger because of these challenges. Each difficulty taught them how to be sharper, faster, and wiser. The small office of two friends slowly became a real company with workers and contracts. Mistakes were not walls to stop them. They were lessons that shaped them. The image is clear. A mountain climber does not stop when the path is steep. He keeps climbing even when rocks fall. Each cut and bruise makes him stronger for the next step. Microsoft's journey was the same. Struggles and mistakes were the rocks, but Bill and Paul kept climbing. In the end, these difficult years became the foundation of Microsoft's strength. The company learned to survive storms, to fight against bigger rivals, and to grow through failure. And Bill learned one of the greatest lessons of life. Mistakes are not final. They are steps on the road to success. The struggles of Microsoft did not end here. Bigger challenges were waiting, but so were bigger opportunities. Out of the lessons from failure, Bill began to dream of something new, something that would make computers easier for everyone. That dream was called Windows. Building Windows. After years of hard work, Bill Gates and Microsoft had learned many lessons. They had survived struggles, fixed mistakes, and grown from a small office into a real company. But Bill wanted more than just a successful business. He had a new vision. He wanted to change the way people used computers. He wanted computers to be simple, easy, and friendly for everyone. At that time, computers were difficult. Only experts could use them. You needed to remember complicated codes and commands. One small mistake could make the computer stop working. Most people felt afraid of computers. They thought computers were only for scientists or engineers. This made computers powerful, but also lonely. Many people wanted to use them but did not know how. Bill saw a different future. He imagined a computer where people could click, see, and understand. He imagined a system where pictures, icons, and windows made work simple. He called this idea Windows. The goal was clear: make computers easy for all people, not just experts. He believed that if people could use computers without fear, the world could change. Many people around him were doubtful. Some said, "No one will learn this. People like the old way." Others thought it was too risky. Changing computers was not easy. Bill faced resistance from inside and outside Microsoft. But he knew that great success often comes from doing what others cannot imagine. He focused on the vision, not on the doubt. The contrast was strong. Old computers were confusing and hard. Only trained experts could work with them. Windows computers would be simple and friendly. Anyone could learn to use them. Bill understood that simplicity was power. Making life easier for others would create real success, not just for Microsoft, but for the whole world. Building Windows was not a simple task. The team worked long hours to design a system that was fast, reliable, and easy to use. Every detail mattered. Every icon, menu, and click had to make sense. Bill was often strict. He wanted the best, because he knew millions of people would use this product. Mistakes were not allowed, but learning and testing were constant. The team tried again and again, solving every problem. Windows was more than software. It was a new way of thinking. It showed that technology could serve people, not only challenge them. Bill believed that if technology is complicated, it creates fear. If it is simple, it creates opportunity. Simplicity became the heart of Microsoft's vision. The launch of Windows changed the world. People could now use computers for work, school, and fun. They could write letters, play games, calculate numbers, and connect with others. Computers were no longer scary. They became tools for everyone. Bill's dream had become reality. This success also brought new challenges. Other companies noticed Microsoft's power and began to compete aggressively. Some criticized the company, saying it was too strong or too controlling. Bill learned that success always brings attention. With attention comes responsibility and sometimes pressure. He needed to lead carefully, balancing growth with ethics and innovation. Windows also created new opportunities. It allowed Microsoft to expand, hire more people, and develop more programs. Schools, businesses, and homes started to use Windows. Bill's vision of making life easier for people proved true. Simplicity had become a powerful force, opening doors to new markets and ideas. The lesson for us is clear. Success is not only about making something powerful for yourself. True success comes when you create something that helps others. Bill's dream of Windows teaches us that the best ideas are those that make life easier, not harder. It is about seeing a problem and imagining a simple solution. Windows changed computers, but it also changed Microsoft. The company grew bigger, richer, and more important. But with growth came competition, criticism, and new challenges. The next step in Bill's journey would test his vision and character even further. The success of Windows was only the beginning. It was the start of a new chapter, full of both opportunity and responsibility. Facing critics and rivals. Success is never quiet. When Microsoft became big and Windows reached millions of people, the world started to notice. Not everyone was happy. Some people said Microsoft was too powerful. Some said the company was too controlling. Rivals, journalists, and even governments questioned Bill Gates and his decisions. Criticism came from every direction, and it was loud. Many people would have felt weak in this situation. Imagine working hard for years, building a dream, and then hearing people say bad things about you. It can feel like a heavy weight on your shoulders. Some people might stop, lose confidence, or even give up. Criticism can hurt, especially when it seems unfair or harsh. Many leaders fail because they focus too much on the noise around them. Bill faced this challenge too. Microsoft was growing, but so was the attention and pressure. Competitors tried to take advantage of the criticism. They said, "Microsoft is too strong. It will destroy small companies." Newspapers and magazines wrote articles about mistakes and conflicts. Every day brought new voices trying to bring Microsoft down. But Bill had learned a lesson long before. Focus is stronger than fear. He refused to let the noise distract him. Instead of reacting angrily or giving up, Bill stayed focused on his vision. He continued to improve Windows and create new software. He thought about the users, the customers, and the dream of making computers simple for everyone. Criticism was not easy to hear, but Bill understood it could be useful. He listened carefully for truth, ignored unnecessary attacks, and used lessons to make Microsoft better. The contrast is important. Many people stop when others speak badly of them. They feel weak, they doubt themselves, and their energy disappears. Bill did the opposite. He treated criticism as a test. Could he continue without losing confidence? Could he lead the company despite negative voices? Every challenge made him stronger and more careful. It gave him a sharper mind for decisions. At the same time, competitors tried to challenge Microsoft directly. Some created similar software. Some tried to convince customers to switch. It was a battle of ideas, speed, and creativity. Bill understood that competition is natural. It can be scary, but it can also be motivating. He used rivals to push himself and his team to work harder and innovate more. Microsoft grew because it faced competition, not because it avoided it. Bill also learned that leadership is about patience. When people criticized, he did not respond with anger or fear. He responded with calm and strategy. He knew that temporary words could not destroy a long-term vision. He focused on the bigger picture. This mindset is what allowed Microsoft to survive storms that could have destroyed a weaker company. Criticism also taught Bill humility. Even when Microsoft was strong, he realized he could still make mistakes. Listening to reasonable criticism helped him improve products, improve the company, and improve himself. He understood that ignoring everything was dangerous, but letting every voice control his actions was also dangerous. The balance between listening and focusing was the key. While Microsoft grew in power and wealth, Bill began to think about something more. He understood that success is not only about winning or being rich. He started to see that helping others could be a bigger purpose. Criticism, rivals, and challenges taught him the value of focus, resilience, and humility. But the next lesson in his life would be even bigger: giving back to the world. This part of Bill's story shows us a universal truth. When you achieve success, not everyone will be happy. Some people will criticize, some will doubt you, and some will try to stop you. Many give up in this situation. But if you stay focused on your vision, you can use challenges to grow stronger. Criticism is not an enemy. It is a teacher if you listen carefully. The story of facing critics and rivals also teaches patience and courage. Bill understood that words cannot destroy a dream, only actions can. He kept building, creating, and dreaming despite the noise around him. Microsoft grew, but Bill also grew as a person. He became ready for a new chapter, one where power and wealth were not the main goal, but where helping others could change the world even more. From businessman to philanthropist. After many years of building Microsoft and creating wealth, Bill Gates reached a point where he had almost everything. He had money, power, respect, and influence. Many people would have been satisfied with this life. They could have continued to focus only on their success, buying more, enjoying luxury, and protecting their company. But Bill felt something more inside him. He felt a need to do something bigger than business, something that could help the world. Bill realized that real success is not only about personal achievements. True success is about helping others. He remembered the struggles he had faced when he was young, the challenges of learning, and the power of opportunity. He understood that life had given him chances that not everyone receives. And he wanted to share those chances with people who needed help the most. This understanding led to the creation of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Together with his wife, Melinda, Bill started giving money to solve serious problems around the world. They focused on health, education, and poverty. They worked to provide vaccines for children, clean water for communities, better schools, and support for people living in difficult conditions. The foundation became a way to use wealth not only for comfort, but for change. The contrast in his life was clear. Before, he collected money and worked for personal growth and achievement. He built Microsoft, earned millions, and reached goals he had dreamed of as a child. But now, his focus shifted. After creating his wealth, he began to think about others. He realized that money could do more than buy luxury. It could save lives, educate children, and give hope. The foundation gave Bill a new purpose. He spent hours studying global problems, learning what was needed, and planning how to act. Just like he had done with computers, he approached philanthropy with passion and focus. Every decision mattered. Every dollar spent was a choice to help someone in need. He used the same skills he had learned at Microsoft, planning, strategy, and persistence, to make a real difference. This new chapter in his life also taught Bill about humility and gratitude. No matter how powerful he became, he understood that life is bigger than one person. Many people around the world live with serious problems every day, and Bill wanted to use his opportunity to make their lives better. He became a role model, not only for business success, but for moral leadership. The lesson here is strong. Happiness and success are deeper when shared. Wealth, power, or fame can give comfort, but helping others gives meaning. Bill found joy in knowing that his efforts could save a child's life, help a student learn, or bring clean water to a village. The rewards of giving are not measured in money, they are measured in impact, hope, and love. Some people might ask, why not enjoy life after success? Why not rest? Bill understood that true happiness does not come from having everything. Happiness comes from purpose, from using your resources to create positive change. Microsoft had given him opportunity. Philanthropy gave him fulfillment. The foundation also inspired others. Many wealthy people looked at Bill and Melinda's work and began to think about how they could give back. Their example showed that success is not only about what you earn, but also about what you give. This lesson is universal. Helping others elevates both the giver and the receiver. Bill's journey from businessman to philanthropist teaches us a larger truth about life. Achievements, money, and power are valuable, but the greatest achievements come when you make life better for other people. By using knowledge, effort, and resources to serve others, we create a legacy that lasts far longer than personal wealth. As we think about Bill's story, we see that every step, curiosity, learning, risk, hard work, patience, and focus led him to this moment. Each lesson from his life prepared him to make a difference. Microsoft showed what he could build, and the foundation showed what he could give. Both achievements are part of a life full of learning and purpose. The story of giving reminds us of an important life lesson. True success is not the money you keep, but the good you share. Bill Gates shows that helping others is not only noble, but also deeply fulfilling. And as we move to the next part of his journey, we can reflect on the lessons that his entire life teaches us. Lessons that can guide our own dreams and choices. Lessons from Bill Gates. Bill Gates' journey is full of lessons that anyone can use in life. From a curious child to a global philanthropist, every step of his path teaches us something important. These lessons are not secrets or magic. They are simple, powerful, and practical. Anyone, anywhere, can apply them to improve their life, grow their skills, and make a difference. The first lesson is curiosity. Bill loved to ask questions and explore the world. When he was a child, he read books for hours, not just for fun, but to understand and learn. He asked why things worked and how they could be better. Many children spend time only playing, but Bill chose to be curious. This curiosity opened doors that others did not even see. It shows us that a curious mind is the first step to success. The second lesson is hard work. Curiosity alone is not enough. Bill combined his love of learning with effort. He spent long hours in the computer room, coding and testing programs. He stayed focused even when the work was difficult. Many people give up when the road is hard, but Bill understood that small steps, repeated every day, lead to big results. Success is built through patience and effort. The third lesson is taking risks. Bill left Harvard, a safe and respected path, to follow his dream. He could have stayed and chosen comfort, but he decided to walk the uncertain road. Risk is part of every great journey. Many people choose safety and miss opportunities. Bill teaches us that sometimes we must be brave and take the harder road to achieve something extraordinary. The fourth lesson is learning from mistakes. Microsoft faced problems with money, competition, and software errors. Every mistake could have ended their journey. But Bill did not see mistakes as failure. He saw them as teachers. He studied every error, learned from it, and applied the lesson. This mindset is crucial. Ordinary people often quit when they fail. Extraordinary people keep learning and growing. The fifth lesson is making life simpler for others. Windows transformed computers because it made them easy to use. Bill understood that success is not only about power or money, it is about helping others. When you make life easier, people benefit, and your work becomes meaningful. Helping others through simplicity is one of the most powerful ways to create success. The sixth lesson is staying strong in the face of criticism. As Microsoft grew, rivals and critics attacked. Some said the company was too powerful or unfair. Many people would have felt weak and discouraged. Bill, however, stayed focused on his vision. He ignored the noise, listened to useful advice, and kept building. This shows that focus and resilience are essential when challenges and criticism appear. The seventh lesson is giving back. After achieving wealth and power, Bill focused on helping others through the Gates Foundation. He gave money for health, education, and global problems. He showed that true success is not what you keep, but what you share. Happiness comes from using your resources to make life better for others. This final lesson is the heart of a meaningful life. Think about the contrast. An ordinary life without these lessons may feel safe but limited. You may work hard without direction, fear mistakes, or ignore opportunities. Life passes and dreams remain unfulfilled. But a life with these lessons, curiosity, effort, courage, learning, simplicity, focus, and giving, can be extraordinary. It can create change, both for yourself and for the world. The key truth is that success is not magic. It does not come from luck or talent alone. Success is daily choices. Every book you read, every question you ask, every risk you take, and every mistake you learn from shapes your journey. Bill's life is proof that ordinary choices, made with focus and courage, build extraordinary results. Now, it is your turn. You can start with curiosity, work hard, and take small steps every day. You can see opportunities, learn from mistakes, and use your skills to help others. Bill Gates' story is inspiring, but it is also practical. His lessons are a guide. If you follow them, you can create your own path, build your dreams, and make a difference. Conclusion: You're Microsoft. Now, we come to the last part of Bill Gates' story, but the beginning of your own. Bill started with curiosity, a small computer and a big dream. He faced struggles, took risks, and worked hard every day. Today, Microsoft is a giant company, but it began in a small room with 2 friends and a simple idea. The important lesson is clear. Everyone has their own Microsoft, a dream, a project, or a goal that can grow if you start and keep going. Imagine your own small beginning. It could be learning English, creating art, starting a small business, or helping others. At first, it may look tiny. The challenges may seem big. Some people might laugh or doubt you. Many will choose comfort, stay small, or avoid effort. But Bill teaches us that step by step, day by day, small beginnings can grow into something extraordinary. Contrast this with staying small. Laziness, fear, and doubt keep dreams hidden. People wait for perfect moments, worry about mistakes, and do not take action. Life passes slowly, and dreams remain invisible. But when you act, even in small ways, you build experience, confidence, and progress. Like Bill, your daily choices become bricks that build your future. Picture yourself as the next builder. You have ideas inside your mind that can grow. You have energy and skills that can create change. The world around you may not see your potential yet, but that is okay. Bill's journey shows that greatness starts in silence, with focus, passion, and patience. Your Microsoft is waiting, and only you can bring it to life. Remember, the story of Bill Gates is not just history. It is a mirror for your own life. Every curiosity you follow, every risk you take, every mistake you learn from, every effort you make is shaping your story. Success is not magic. It is the result of small, consistent choices. Today, You can start your journey. Your story begins now. The first step may be small, like opening a book, practicing a skill, or writing an idea. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not fear failure. Each step moves you closer to your dream. Like Bill, you can turn your small beginnings into something that changes your life and the world around you. Your Microsoft is waiting. Take the first step and start building it today.